Hello everyone, my name is Joshua and I'll be solving 10 days of JavaScript's problem day for classes. Let's begin. Oh, before we begin, what are classes? Okay, I think in a previous tutorial I went over objects. Objects are usually a collection of properties and behaviors defined. Sometimes you might be wondering okay, is there a standard we can use to make sure that we'll create the same object and we don't have to manually write it over and over again? This is what classes are for. It's almost like a rule, a bunch of rules, a blueprint, a map. People will say different things. Oh, I don't want to say map. It's used differently in programs. I'm going to say a blueprint just to be a safe PC programming correct word. All right, let's begin. So we want to create a Polygon class that has the following properties, and the properties are: it has a constructor. What the hell is a constructor, you might ask? That takes an array of integer values describing the lengths of the polygon sides. A constructor is a method when you create an object. With a class, constructor is almost like the setup. And in this case, the setup is we want to take the array of integer values to describe the lengths of the polygon sides. I think it's saying that the first thing we want to do is this polygon will be assigned whatever the input parameters are for that. So if it's inputting, let's look at this explanation below. If the side lengths are 3, 4, and 5, and it's inputting to that polygon class like this, 3, 4, 5, it will start off when instantiating that object by assigning that property sides that it will have 3, 4, and 5. If it doesn't make sense, please comment below. I'll clarify there. Anyways, perimeter method that returns the polygon's perimeter. Basically, perimeter means a sum of all the sides. I think this will make more sense once I go over it. So let's just see here. So we have this polygon. It's inputting. It's creating a new polygon object. It's using the polygon class to create that object. It's putting in an array or a bunch of values, which are 3, 4, and 5. So if we output its if we do that, when it does a constructor, it's going to take in those values 3, 4, 5 as its property. It has those size 3, 4, 5, and when we output the method or behavior of perimeter, it's going to expect it to output the value 12. Now, if I were to construct this one, how you do this is, dang it's been a while since I did JavaScript. Let me do this right here, class, polygon. We want to denote that this file will be for the polygon class. And then you start it off with this keyword class, the name of the class, which is Polygon. Now we want to create a constructor. In JavaScript, it's usually like this, constructor, parentheses. Now we define it almost like a method in a way. Now the input parameter is going to be an array of integer side lengths. I'll just call this sides, just to make it simple. And I want to assign that property value to the Polygon object. To do that, I would denote it with the word this. Be careful, this has multiple meanings in JavaScript. In this scenario specifically, is that I'm assigning the object's property sides to equal whatever you set it up to be, which is in this case inputted to that input parameter. Now I want to create a perimeter method as shown here below. I don't have to input anything because it's taken from the property itself, this.sides, and it's shown an example that we want it to be constructed that way. To do that, I'll just do return. Oh, I can't just return anything. I want to see, so it will be a sum, so let sum equal 0. I want to iterate through all the sides that it has, so it'll be let index equals 0. Index is less than this dot sides dot length, and index plus plus. All right, and sum will be incrementing that sum based on this dot sides at that specific index, and I'll return that sum like that. All right, so if I run this code, I think it should be fine. Let's see what happens. Okay, I did it correctly. Let's just submit the code and make sure I get it right. Hot diggity dog. All right, guys, I hope this makes sense. I think I'll summarize it to make it easier. Class is usually a blueprint, a set of instructions to create a certain object. Usually developers or test engineers will use a class to make sure it's a standard that every other person will follow, and it has a set of rules, like it has a certain assurance that the person will use those methods only, and its setup will be used as following. The setup is usually called specifically a constructor. Here you can start assigning its values by using the this dot whatever the property is. And there you go. Alright guys, good luck in your test and your job. See ya.